Maneka, Gandhi, ma'am, thank you so much for joining me on Kindness with Amy. I appreciate it so much. You are an incredible Indian politician, chairperson for People for Animals, an animal rights activist, and an environmentalist. बहुत खुशी से मैं आपसे मिल रही हूँ, and I'm very, very happy to share you with my followers so that they can learn more specifically about your passion for helping animals, and that's something that is very, very important to me and dear to my heart. मैम मैं आपसे जानना चाहती हूँ कि बहुत लोग कहते हैं कि वीगनिज़म एक्सट्रीम है, और मैं आपका व्यू पॉइंट जानना चाहती हूँ कि क्या आपको लगता है कि वीगन होना एक्सट्रीम है?
नहीं, तो जानवर को मारना और उसके लाश को टेबल पर डालना ये एक्सट्रीम नहीं है. I fail to understand by what parameters can we judge extremism. For me, मेरे प्लेट पर एक मरे हुए जिंदा इंसान हो या जानवर हो, मुझे तो लगता है कि इससे एक्सट्रीम और घिनौनी चीज कुछ हो नहीं सकती. So why would I think that adopting gentleness in eating or in attitude would be extreme? क्या हम लोग इतने आदी हो गए हैं वायलेंस से? Are we so passionately fond of violence, killing, murder, that we think that this is normal?
Or ma'am, you know, it's almost like we're so desensitized to not associate murder and violence जब जानवर के साथ हो रहा है.
That's right. No, अपना जानवर हो तो ठीक है. If somebody comes and kills you,
correct.
But the operative word here is my,
yes.
not animal.
Correct.
So it's the same as stealing your jewelry.
Yes.
Or
yes.
breaking your vase.
Because I find that moral inconsistency, everybody who says that I love animals, they have dogs, they have cats.
It's people who say I love chicken when they actually mean I love tandoori chicken.
Correct. Yeah. Correct, exactly.
Yes, that's exactly. True. I find it very odd that the human being should now accept violence as a norm. But इसका जो दोष है, मैं उनके अज्ञानता पर, you know, I give it to their illiteracy, but also to being manipulated by industry. For instance, America में nobody says meat anymore. They say protein.
हाँ.
अब ये बहुत चालाकी है.
Correct.
Because then you think you're doing yourself a good turn by eating meat.
Yes.
Because you call it protein.
Yes.
In actual fact, they don't say कि जब आप प्रोटीन खा रहे हैं मांस से, you will be eating masses of chemicals, fat, cholesterol, and everything else. They just call the whole thing protein, when it's nothing to do with protein. The protein content would be a minimal amount of the meat that you're eating.
Correct.
And certainly much less in fish and chicken.
Yes.
In spite of being manipulated to believe that chicken and fish are healthy for you or have all protein, they're not. They have more oil than beef.
Correct. So, you know, जो आप पहले बात कर रहे थे कि वायलेंस इतना नॉर्मल है हमारे एवरीडे लाइफ में, लोग सोचते नहीं हैं इसके बारे में. लेकिन जब भी मैं बोलती हूँ लोगों को कि यू नो ऑब्वियसली इफ यू आर ईटिंग एन एनिमल यू आर पार्टेकिंग इन वायलेंस बाय चॉइस. यू हैव अ मोस्ट ऑफ अस, मैं सर्वाइवल की बात नहीं कर रही हूँ, मोस्ट ऑफ अस आर इन अ पोजीशन ऑफ चॉइस. बट देन लोग कहते हैं कि Amy, but plants have feelings.
Yeah, but so what? I mean, so what? Plants have feelings too, so I should eat a cow. It's one of those, you know, there are 5 or 6 really stupid aphorisms that one comes across. One is plants have feelings too. Secondly is Hitler was a vegetarian. Which he was not. Yeah. But I mean, if Hitler was a vegetarian, good for him, at least he did something right. The third one is, if we don't eat animals, then they'll grow so much that they'll fill the earth and there'll be no space for us. I say, as a matter of fact, you don't eat donkeys, but they haven't filled up the earth. So the animals that you do eat are the ones that are filling up the earth. The whole Amazon is being destroyed by the animals that you eat. The whole India has less than 10% forest because all the animals you eat are sitting in the forest feeding.
And we breed them, ma'am.
We breed them and send them to the forest.
Correct.
To public spaces.
I think it's a complete myth, ma'am, that because many people tell me all the time कि अगर हम vegan बनेंगे, then पूरा world will be overrun with animals. And somehow this is a justification for
No, so you're doing social service, basically.
Yes.
You're not eating. You are helping the earth survive.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's, the human being's ability for self-delusion is incredible.
Absolutely.
And especially when it comes to eating what he wants to eat. फिर उसका तो सिर अच्छा चलिए आप मान लो कि अगर आप सोशल सर्विस कर रहे हैं भैंस को खा करके बकरे को खा करके what social service are you doing when you eat pate? Because pate is when a goose is taken and an iron rod is put inside its food pipe.
Right.
And it's fed food 24 hours a day until its liver becomes cancerous. And then it's slit open and that cancerous liver is sold as, for rich people, called pate. So what social service do you have in that? What social service do you do when you eat baby pigeons, for instance? I haven't understood the limit of this great social service that meat eaters are doing. Because it takes roughly 50,000 calories
Right.
to create a kilo of meat, in the washing, in the heating, in the cooking,
Sure.
in the creation of the cow or the buffalo itself. So I haven't understood the social service in that. There's no water for human beings, but we are spending 3 times the amount on animals. The whole global warming. See, most people, if they understood what global warming was, then they would be more rational in their choices. But most people just now are so immune to hearing the word that they don't know what it means. Let me explain to you the quickest way I can. Global warming means the heating up of the earth. जब हमारे शरीर को बुखार होता है तो हमको दवाई लेनी पड़ती है.
Correct.
अब आपके जो धरती है उसको बुखार हुआ है. And just as we feel sick with 1 degree increase from 98.4 to 99, the same way the earth is now sick. Okay, so now what happens when the Indian Ocean has been the most affected by global warming? So now the Indian Ocean has 2 sides to it. एक तरफ अफ्रीका, दूसरी तरफ ऑस्ट्रेलिया. अब अजीब इंडियन ओशन की जो ग्लोबल वार्मिंग है वो अजीब तरीके से हुआ है. जो ऑस्ट्रेलिया की तरफ है वो एक ठंडक आ गई है.
अच्छा.
So Australia is now getting much less rain. So you have forest fires.
Everywhere.
Your whole
Yes.
place is absolutely on fire.
Yes.
And there's not enough rain to bring it down. So you are losing thousands of trees, species, everything about you is on fire. On the other side, Africa, because it's hotter now, because the Indian Ocean is very hot on that side, उनको 10 गुना ज़्यादा बारिश हो रही है. अब जब बारिश हो रही है, the locusts are increasing. That they have increased by 600 times, not percent.
Wow.
Okay, now when they have increased, there's no food to eat.
Yes.
6 देशों को वो पूरा खा चुके, which are now basket cases, where the world has to feed them. और अब वो उठ करके आ जाते हैं ईरान, इराक, पाकिस्तान, इंडिया. अब जब हिंदुस्तान आ गए तो पिछले साल वो आए थे राजस्थान, गुजरात. और हमारी सरकार ने अखबारों में तो लिखा नहीं, but hundreds of thousands of hectares were eaten by locusts because we can't prevent them.
Wow.
So now when those are eaten, the prices of food go up.
Of course.
And there's more starvation. So that is global warming. Global warming is when during winter you have mosquitoes as well.
Yes.
Today malaria is the single largest employer of doctors. So why? Because of global warming. The mosquitoes have now crossed the heat divide because all of the world is hot. So they have entered Alaska.
I think when it comes to things like global warming, as you said, people are just like, they hear it all the time and they're
That's
so
right.
detached from...
And they keep saying, "Magar mera steak khane se global warming kaise hoga?"
Correct.
And the simple answer is कि there are two gases in the world that have created global warming, जिसने ये बुखार दिया है हमारी धरती को. एक है कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड और एक है मीथेन. कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड आती है हर चीज से. इस कमरे में मैं सांस ले रही हूँ, ये सोफा सांस ले रहा है, ये टेबल सांस ले रहा है. I mean everything that went into making them has created carbon dioxide. आप कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड को खत्म कर ही नहीं सकते हो. Secondly, if you and I and the whole world stop living for 100 years, even it would take 100 years for 1% of carbon dioxide to come down.
Wow.
All right? So carbon dioxide is not our problem. The earth has factored in carbon dioxide for millions of years.
Right.
Okay? The problem is methane. Now methane is 24 times, not percent, 24 times more potent than carbon dioxide in creating heat.
Wow.
And it only comes from three sources. Animals, which are grown for meat. Any animal that eats grass has gas coming out of its anus. Yeah? It's like when you eat too much salad.
Yes.
So that is methane. And it heats the area. Second is coal, which India uses in great quantities. We and China are the greatest coal producers in the world,
Right.
coal users. And the third is rice. So the actual creation of methane is really the fault of only 3 or 4 countries. China, India, Brazil. Now because we are the largest consumers and buyers of the world's junk, and in China's case the producers of the world's junk, the world will do anything we want it to do.
Of course.
So in all international fora, we have refused to let methane be part of the argument.
Wow.
We only allow talking about carbon dioxide.
Yes.
और फिर हम कहते हैं हम गरीब देशों ने कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड का कुछ नहीं किया, तुम ही लोगों ने बिजली इस्तेमाल कर करके कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड किया. And the Westerners back off. Because otherwise we'll say फिर हम तुम्हारा गार्बेज खरीदेंगे नहीं, तुम्हारे हवाई जहाज, तुम्हारे टैंक, तुम्हारे गन बलाए. So methane is actually the main problem. Now the good thing about methane is अगर हम आज बंद कर दें, मान लो हम we stop eating rice, we stop using coal, or we stop killing animals for meat, methane will disappear in 4 years. So within 4 years global
Wow.
warming will stop.
Isn't that shocking?
That's so easy.
It's such a logical solution.
Yeah.
But ma'am, I feel like that the problem is that as humans, most of our species doesn't care.
They don't care.
They just care
No,
about
they
their
just get
immediate...
sicker and sicker and sicker.
Correct.
But they don't link their sickness
Yes.
to to what they have done.
Yes.
I keep saying first you eat meat, then it eats you,
Yes.
because you're allergic to meat
Yes.
and you're horribly allergic to milk.
Yeah.
So you keep taking these things in and then you wonder why you get cancer.
But ma'am, there is so much miseducation around meat and dairy that people honestly believe that
It's good for you.
it's good for you. We are naturally omnivorous. Some people even think we're carnivorous. I'm like, we are naturally, biologically, we are actually herbivorous, behaviorally omnivorous. Those are very big distinctions.
Not even behaviorally. We have been taught to be omnivorous.
Taught to, exactly. So we only do it out of culture, habit, tradition, not because our bodies require it.
That's right.
And I'm
No, whenever you get sick,
Yes.
what is the first thing a doctor tells you? He says, firstly tells the truth for the first time.
Yes,
He says, don't drink milk, don't eat meat.
exactly.
When you get cancer, they tell you, don't eat meat. So why didn't they tell you before? Because a
Exactly.
doctor is as much of a businessman as anybody else.
Yes.
He earns money from curing, not from preventing. Which is why 90% of the medical schools anywhere in the world do not teach diet.
Yes, they don't. In a 7-year degree, my doctor friend, Maa Ka Doodh, you've seen the documentary?
No.
Okay, so Dr. Harsha, he produced that here in India.
Acha, Maa Ka Doodh, of course, I was part of it, yes.
So of course, yes, of course. So he was telling me how in his entire medical degree, he had...
Was without diet?
Yes,
No, I often go and give lectures to doctors. And I keep telling him, I said, all right, tell me. I said, I'm going to ask you a simple question. You say that milk gives calcium. I want to know, why is it that people who drink the most milk have the least calcium?
Yes.
So they said, I said, okay, I'll tell you why. Because the study was done in Yale. When you drink milk, जब आप दूध पीते हैं, it turns into acid in your stomach.
Correct.
Now, if you had the enzyme to digest it, it would have digested the milk. Milk is lactose. You should have had an enzyme called lactase. You don't have lactase. Now, because you don't have a digestive, which is one of the reasons why we don't eat grass, not grass, we don't eat glass.
Yes.
We don't eat metal, is because we don't have the enzymes to digest them.
Yes.
So we don't have the enzymes for milk. So this milk, because it cannot be digested, turns to acid, which is lactic acid. Now when it turns to acid, this body has to be pH neutral at all times. The blood has to be. मगर अगर तेजाब बन गया तो आपके शरीर में तेजाब फैलेगा तो आप उसी वक्त मरोगे. So the body reacts like this. What it does is the stomach immediately takes the calcium out of your bones.
Yes.
And it throws it into the stomach so that that alkaline mixes and neutralizes the acid. तो जितना ज़्यादा आप दूध पिएंगे उतना ही ज़्यादा कैल्शियम आपके हड्डियों में नहीं है. So it's the milk drinkers that fall down and break their bones most of the time.
Yes. I remember reading this in China study years ago about this study that was done.
I know. That's the largest study in the world.
Largest study in the world, and the groups of people that consume little to no dairy, mostly no dairy, have 0 instances of osteoporosis.
That's right.
All of these affluence diseases like cancer, etc., because their animal protein ka intake is close to nothing.
Because the white blood cells are kept under control. Whenever I have something that my body does not need or want, it regards it as an enemy.
Right.
So it starts attacking it. One of the reasons why people get diabetes is milk. And it's a simple thing. The pancreatic cell looks like the milk cell. So when you drink milk, the white blood cells attack the milk.
Right.
But they also attack the pancreatic cells because they're so foolish. When they attack the pancreatic cells cannot be reproduced. The liver can, other organs can, but pancreas is a dead end. So, आप मेरे cells को मारे pancreatic cells, I can't do a thing about it, and they will never come back. तो मैं diabetes के साथ बैठ गई हूँ. And the pancreas is responsible for looking after and treating the cancers of the rest of the body.
Right.
Once the pancreas is damaged, you can get cancer anywhere. And it's quite simple, it's just simply milk.
Look, I feel like जब मैं अपने पेरेंट्स को देखती हूँ, पेरेंट्स के दोस्तों को देखती हूँ, उनके कोहॉर्ट में इतना नॉर्मल है कि उनके फ्रेंड्स को डायबिटीज़, हार्ट प्रॉब्लम्स ये सब हो रहा है in their 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
And when I look at it, I'm like, but that should not actually be normal. That these things are
normal,
happening.
yeah.
It's not normal.
I mean, there was a time when till the 60s, where you used to use the word cancer like he who should not be named.
Yes.
You know? And now it's, which family does not have it?
Yes.
My mother died of cancer. You know, almost everyone I know has somebody in their family with cancer.
Yeah. Yeah. And that brings me to a question. So, oftentimes मैं लोगों से बात करती हूँ जो वेजिटेरियन होते हैं, ओके? फिर वो हमसे कहते हैं कि एमी वेजिटेरियन होना इज़ वेरी गुड क्योंकि मीट ख़राब है बॉडी के लिए, लेकिन
दूध बिल्कुल ठीक है.
हाँ, वीगन बहुत ज़्यादा है क्योंकि दूध अच्छा है.
This is the unlimited ability of the human to fool himself. Doodh or meat come from the same animal. So how can one be veggie or vegan and one be carnivorous? The milk is simply the white blood cells of the animal, whereas the meat are the red blood cells. But both of them are blood cells. So, this ridiculousness. And if you can't digest meat, you can't digest milk. Because it's from the same animal. Bengan se to nahi nikla na. Gaay se hi to nikla. And in actual fact, if we just take milk by itself, the cow has the least nutritious milk. It has been chosen as our leading milk animal only because they can't run fast.
Yes.
It doesn't fight you. It doesn't kick you like a donkey. And you can be as mean as you like to this poor mother and steal her milk, and she won't do a damn thing. The best milk, if you want, is mouse milk. But who the hell is going to milk a mouse?
People would be, ma'am, if you said to anybody कि आप rat का या mouse का दूध पी लो, they would be disgusted.
That's
but
right.
then I think why?
Why? It's the same milk.
Ethically,
It's
morally,
not just ethically. The point is, it's the same milk and much better.
Correct. It's more that moral idea because I think if
No,
you are
because
okay,
they can't be mean to a mouse.
Yeah, but I think on an ethical standpoint, I find it interesting because when people think of vegetarian, because meat is so obvious कि जानवर को मारा है, आपने meat लिया है.
But
It's
milk
clear.
is the same. That if you didn't have milk, you wouldn't have meat.
Yes.
The entire syndrome of killing the animal starts with milk.
Yes.
तो पहले तो आप दूध निकालो, उसके बछड़े को बेचो. So you sell the children, get this poor cow to give you milk. Even then she will not give you milk without her bachadas. So every day you stab her with 2 illegal injections of oxytocin, which make her go into labor every day. Every woman listening to this should know what labor pains are. The cow goes through them twice a day. Then because she becomes banj, बहुत जल्दी हो जाती because her uterus simply gives way from this injection. उसके बाद उसको बेचो.
और फिर when she's at the end of her cycle of producing milk, where do these cows go?
No, they go for slaughter.
Correct.
But the thing is, the end of the cycle should have come at 15 years or 20 years.
Yes.
Now it comes after 2 years because of the oxytocin injections.
Right. Right.
So at the end of 2 years, the cow is killed.
And man, if you think about it ethically,
and that's a cow, buffaloes, goats, whatever.
Yeah, cows, buffaloes, exactly. But I feel like if you think about it on a very ethical standpoint, to me, I don't see the moral difference between if I'm eating meat or if I'm drinking milk.
No, it is the same.
There's no difference.
No, or having an egg.
Or having an egg.
I mean, chickens are the most viciously treated in the world.
Absolutely.
You know, a normal chicken has got 20 diseases, including diabetes, which it passes on to you. Is, dipped in boiling water while being killed, is kept in cages where it cannot even spread its wings. Normally chickens, because they are cramped on A4 paper, so they can't even lift their wings. So they get very, very upset. And so they start biting the chicken next to them. So in order for them not to bite and create wounds in a chicken that is in any case going to be killed in 2 months, what they do is as soon as it's born, they cut off the beak.
Yes.
And they cut off the feet now.
Yes.
So the chicken has no feet to stand on, no beak. It's just living hell.
Literally.
And when the poultry farms we visited, they give them their food outside the bars. So a chicken has to push its neck outside the bar.
Yes.
So the bars, its necks are always bleeding.
Yes.
And in one of them, we found that the cages, and apparently it's standard procedure, were covered with spider webs. Covered. And like I say, why spider webs?
Yes.
Can't you just clean them?
Yeah.
And they said no, because the chickens have so many ticks on them. Ticks, fleas, mites.
Wow.
That the spiders are allowed to come and eat them on the chicken.
Wow.
Can you think, and this is an animal that is the most eaten every day. It's considered upmarket to eat chicken. And you get diabetes straight off from the chicken. You also get arthritis.
Yeah.
And you get 1,000 other things.
Pumped full of antibiotics, ma'am.
It's not just antibiotics. You know, the chicken itself is in such a filthy state
Yes.
when you kill it that it's dipped into what's that thing called pink? You know, that chemical? That.
It's like a detergent.
It's a
I
detergent.
forgot the name of it.
And as soon as it dies. So you get it, you can't boil it out.
And you're eating that.
So you eat that. Along with the antibiotics, the anti-fungicides,
Yeah.
the mites, and everything else.
Yeah. You know, with the topic of eggs, I think sometimes we can be so disassociated from things and not realize, like when we see the end product, to think about where that came from, we can be so far removed from it. And like yourself, I have visited a poultry farm here in Thane. और जब हम वहाँ पे गए थे, we pretended कि हम उस poultry farm को खरीदने आए थे, तो बहुत फिरंगी पहुँच गए, they were very happy to show us. और जब हम वहाँ अंदर गए, I see this stuff, but to see it again, it was like लोग जानते नहीं हैं how truly bad it is, like how torturous these places are. And there was a pile, like there was literally a pile of dead chickens,
bodies, yes.
because every day they have to take the dead bodies out because these chickens.
No, but
are
they
so
don't
sick.
take them out. They don't take them
Oh,
out.
they just leave them there.
No, they don't. They actually mash them and feed them back to the chicken.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So it's what is known as a
Yeah.
potential mad cow disease disaster.
Yes.
Because animals who eat their own kind
Huh.
are cannibals. And cannibalism leads to the protein in your brain becoming. You see, this is a stick. This is an electricity pole. This is a stick. This is how your brain works. So when I'm lifting my fingers to do this, my brain is telling me. So the message is coming from stick pole, like electricity.
Sure.
This is made of protein. When if I were to eat humans, or chickens were to eat chickens, cows were to eat cows, that pole bends over
Right.
and becomes a prion.
Right.
So it can no longer communicate.
Huh.
So why do we have Alzheimer's? Why do we have senility so common now, starting at the age of 60? Only because your proteins are becoming prions. And why are they becoming prions? Because you're eating meat, which has eaten meat.
Wow.
Mad cow disease is simply that, the brain melting. Why? Because they were eating cows that had eaten cows. They were using, in soya bean, they were using cow blood to make the soya bean into boxes.
Wow.
So that it was easier to feed cows. That blood was cow blood. So the same thing, when a chicken eats a chicken and then you eat the chicken, your brain is melting, which is why you get Alzheimer's and you get senility. Your brain doesn't work after a little while because those poles are no longer transmitting.
तो मैम चिकन खाने से लोगों को अल्जाइमर्स हो रहा है.
Not just Alzheimer's, anything to do with the brain.
Anything to do with the brain. दूध पीने से डायबिटीज, कैंसर, ऑस्टियोपोरोसिस, मीट खाने से इतने हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम्स हो रहे हैं. आपको क्यों लगता है कि लोगों को पता नहीं है कि मीट और डेयरी पीना?
इसलिए पता नहीं है क्योंकि डॉक्टर को पता नहीं है. In our world, a doctor still has the place of God.
Yes, ma'am.
So
आप
when you
किसी
stop-
डॉक्टर से पूछो, every doctor will tell you, eat meat, it's healthy. Have
right.
dairy, it's good. Every doctor will tell you
And
this.
where has he got his information from? He hasn't got it from any specialized sources. He's got it from the same place where you and I get it, which is Amma, जिसने हमको बड़ा किया, दादी माँ, our next door neighbor,
Yes.
the lady on the street.
Yes.
अरे बच्चे जल्दी जल्दी दूध पी लो.
हाँ, correct.
And दूध की आदत कौन डालता है? दूध has not, you see, every human being hates milk. जब आप पहली दफा दूध पिलाओ बच्चे को, it will burp and that burp stinks
Yes.
because the body is now fighting it already. अब जब आप छोटे हैं, the milk is disguised. कभी बॉर्नवीटा डाल दिया तो कभी चॉकलेट डाल दिया तो कभी कुछ डाल दिया.
Yes.
लेकिन it's power play for the parents to discipline you.
Yes.
It's nothing to do with protein or any calcium or anything. Their parents discipline like them. Their parents discipline them like that.
Yes.
So the mother will say, दूध पियो नहीं तो पिक्चर नहीं देखोगे. दूध पियो नहीं तो पिताजी को बताऊंगी. दूध पियो नहीं तो ये नहीं मिलेगा. You know?
Exactly.
So you do the same thing.
Yeah.
There are two things that people leave as soon as they reach the age of 16 now. One is milk and one is making margins on sheets, which is another very strange thing that I've never understood why we do it. Why do we cut off 1/5 of the paper
Yeah, that's true.
to make a margin? Why?
But
Why do we drink milk? Good, who knows?
it's
My mother had to chase me round and round every day.
yes.
My
Telling
son
me-
has never drunk milk.
Wow. And how old
We
is your
put
son?
him, he is now 43,
Okay.
and
And he's alive, ma'am.
he's not only alive, he has a brain IQ of 161.
Oh my
He
God.
has been a member of parliament 3 times.
My
he
goodness.
is 6'1",
Wow.
and he's never sick.
Ma'am, breaking all these ridiculous stereotypes. You need
Yeah.
milk to be big and healthy, to be smart, have a strong mind. Breaking all the stereotypes.
No, absolutely, but he's normal as a human being should be.
Yes.
Well, happy.
Absolutely. Ma'am, it's ridiculous because one, over 60% of the Indian population is lactose intolerant.
No, not 60%, 100%.
100%.
100%. Nobody except 40% of whites has lactase.
Wow.
No blacks, no yellows, no browns, no pinks.
And this is an evolutionary thing.
It was always like that.
Okay.
India is not a traditional milk drinker.
Yes.
The British introduced it to us. So this nonsense that I hear, which is same as Hitler's vegetarian and blah blah blah, it also is Krishna दूध पीते.
सब कहते हैं.
हाँ, Ram पीते थे.
Correct.
Not Ram so much as Krishna.
हाँ.
And it's rubbish. It's rubbish because there is no mention of him drinking milk in any of the scriptures. None.
अगर कृष्णा दूध पीते भी थे, let's pretend,
हाँ.
पीते भी थे, then would he be supporting raping of cows, the slaughter of cows, the beef industry, the leather industry, what we do to cows in this country की मैं बात कर रही हूँ.
Yeah, in
would
this
he
country.
support it? Absolutely not.
No.
So for you to sit there and align yourself with Krishna because of what, it just doesn't make any sense.
That's right. And wear leather.
And wear leather.
Which
Call
come from
yourself
Krishna's
a Hindu firstly
cows,
while you're
yeah.
wearing leather.
No, this Hindu business is so mixed up. Recently in Begusarai there was a temple that had animal sacrifice. So the people, the committee of the temple said, this is really rubbish. We can't do this anymore. So they banned it.
Right.
I'm talking about this year. Immediately, a member of parliament who fancies himself a great Hindu came there and said, if the Muslims can kill, why can't the Hindus kill? I said, how does that make any logic?
What?
Why don't you become a Muslim then?
The basis
If
of
the
your
only thing that you can think of is that we should follow the Muslims while killing,
yeah,
then why don't you follow them in wearing what they wear and
correct.
their prayers that they do
Yes.
and whatever? But on the base of this logic, he created a huge tamasha, and so that temple perforce has had to go back to killing, because he said, मैं धरने पर बैठूंगा और अगर मुसलमान मार सकते हैं तो हिंदू क्यों नहीं मार सकते हैं?
But ma'am, doesn't Hinduism promote non-violence?
Absolutely.
So
But I'm just saying, and this guy is considered a great Hindu person.
Well, then he's simply not.
His name is Giriraj Singh.
I can't accept, if you want to call yourself something and believe in its ideologies, then you actually have to
Follow it.
follow those ideologies. You can't say you're a Hindu but then be promoting violence.
And also say that you should, if they can do it, we can do it.
Yes, it doesn't
You
make
can't
sense.
compare yourself to any other religion.
Ma'am, can I ask you a question about Jainism? I have a question. I had a friend.
Again, we have.
I had a friend who is Jain, sorry, and she's a vegan, and she told me that she informed her family that she's not consuming dairy anymore. And they were shocked and they were like, how can you do this, blah, blah, blah.
Again, it's the Jains are the most wonderful religion in the world. I mean, I think of myself as Jain. But yes, they're obsessed with milk, paneer. But the thing is that I think it has something also to do with that most Jains are now from Gujarat. Amul is in Gujarat.
Right.
Amul has been sold like God's own manna to most people. I think it's something to do with that because the maximum amount of cow killing is from Gujarat. Every day, trucks and trucks and trucks of cows are taken illegally across the border to Maharashtra, to Allana to be killed there. And they all go from the dairies.
As a result of dairy demand.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, the first slaughterhouse in India was set up by Amul. It was set up in Goa because they couldn't do it in Gujarat. The dairy people know that they're simply the middlemen for the meat industry.
So if you're drinking milk, you are supporting the slaughter of cows.
Not supporting, you are taking part in. You're
partaking.
eating meat.
You are essentially eating meat.
Yeah.
लेकिन आप किसी से भी पूछिए, हर कोई कहता है कि Amul is so good. They support farmers.
Yeah, they support farmers in growing cows and selling cows.
Yeah, and the slaughter of cows.
And the slaughter of cows.
तो इन्होंने.
In fact, Amul went to court. We are fighting them in court. Because when we started producing plant milk in India, and people preferred to have plant milk, Amul went to court to prevent that from being called milk. And they got the government to issue an order, FSSAI, to issue an order saying कि हम इसको milk कह ही नहीं सकते.
लोग कहते हैं कि हमसे कहते हैं कि एमी आप अपने वेस्टर्न आइडियाज इंडिया में मत लाओ. और मैं सोचती हूँ
Ragi milk is more Indian than the Indians.
Absolutely, ma'am. Plant milk is more Indian.
Absolutely.
Than this idea of cow milk.
Yeah.
And this is Western ideas.
As I said, cow milk is only 300 years old.
Yeah.
In fact, it was my grandfather who institutionalized it.
Really?
Unfortunately. He started Kanal. He was the founder of Amul. Dr. Kurian.
I can't not laugh.
So
that's ironic.
Yeah. It's fated.
Wow.
What you're drinking in milk, cow milk, is not milk. If you actually analyze that milk,
right,
I think about 60% will be water. There's just not enough milk to go around.
Really?
They did over 2,000 raids 2 years ago. You can look this up on the net. In Punjab for paneer. They didn't find even one real paneer. Not even one.
What?
And this is the largest paneer eating state in the world.
So what is it?
Sulfuric acid mixed with baby powder, baby, Cerelac, which is brought from China because it's 15 years old. So it's bad. It's past its sell-by date. So tankers of that come here. And they just mix it with sulfuric acid, sit on it, make it into cakes and cut it and say it's paneer. There is something, the equivalent in South India called Salem paneer.
Okay.
Because Salem does the same thing.
Right.
And when the distributor is giving it, he said, would you like some Salem paneer? Which means, would you like something that vaguely looks like paneer but has nothing to do with paneer?
Wow.
But they found this all over India. You can't make paneer in India because there's not enough milk.
And it's mixed with water and detergents and everything anyway.
No, once, I remember, I wrote about it also, a long time ago, about 25 years ago. I was going down the road and there was this, they still are today, the same thing. There was a person cycling and he had these canisters. And the cycle fell and the canisters fell. And it was milk canisters. And when it fell, ultod, we went and we found potlis, of muslin with earthworms inside the milk.
Oh.
And I said, why do you do this? And he said, because the milk is only tested for fat. So when we put earthworms in and they start dying, they ooze out fat. That slime. And that mixes with the milk. And so we get ours is passed. They do the same with urea. When I was minister, we did some kind of when I was Environment Minister, we did some kind of research to find out where does the urea in this country go. Found out that about 25 to 30% of urea doesn't go to farmers, it goes to the milk industry. And why do they do that? It's because when they send the milk in the canisters by trucks to a central point, because the trucks will go ubar ghabar and the milk will pato, to prevent the milk from patoing, they put urea into the milk, which is why milk stinks.
That's disgusting.
But all milk in India has urea in it.
Wow.
And urea kills you. It's a chemical that gives you cancer. So even if our milk were not per se bad enough, you have earthworms and urea and God knows what else to put in.
When people say to me ki, I can buy a packet of Amul for 50 rupees, whatever it is.
Because that's not milk, that's why.
Correct. So let's say it's 60% pani, right? And in unke mind mein, they're buying milk. And then they're saying, okay, it's 150 rupees, agar mujhe soy milk ka equivalent kharidna ho. I'm like, I understand.
Because it's real milk.
That's the thing. I'm like, you're not only are you buying a superior product, you're actually paying less in the long run because your health is not paying the price.
No, not only that. Here you have, we had actually gone to court at one point, if I remember correctly, against this word fresh milk for mother dairy. Because mother dairy is only reconstituted milk. It's not fresh.
Oh.
There are no dairies here. So where does the milk come from? What they do is you buy Chinese desiccated milk. And once a year then you keep pouring water into it, shake it up and call it fresh milk and sell it.
Wow.
So it's not even milk.
Yeah.
There are no dairies in West Bengal. So where do they get the milk?
Yeah.
And Amul doesn't send milk all the way there. Nor does Mother Dairy.
Wow. Yet they get away with it. So, you ask anybody in the West, even here, everyone will say India loves cows.
We really love them. We love them to death. If I show you in the number of cows in my hospital, and not only that, one of the things that we have seen since COVID, which I'm so sad to talk about, but I think I should, is the raping of animals by human beings. Most of them rape dogs and people from good families, usually men over 60 years old. We must have put about 50 people into jail. But when we dug deeper into this, because in Bareilly we found 7 people raping a horse.
What?
And then we started, sending our people. Almost all the cows are raped in dairies by their dairy people.
Ma'am, what is wrong with people?
This is the norm. That's how much we love cows.
That is so shocking to me.
You should just have so many videos of men raping dogs,
raping
cows, raping horses, raping goats. Is really frightening. And unfortunately, the government, in this last change of the IPCs, have removed rape on animals as a crime, because they said it was so common that how many people would we send to jail?
Are you being serious?
Yeah.
So I can go rape a dog right now?
Right now.
And I won't get in trouble?
No, because they've removed it. Because you'd have to stand in line, according to them.
This is messed up.
Yeah, it just happened last week.
I don't even know what to say. That's like lost
377 applied to rape on people and animals. So they just removed the animals part because they said it's very common. So it was so's murder.
Wow.
So's abuse. Then why not just remove everything? Because all crime is so common.
What do you think it's going to take, if at all, for people to be, for us as a species, to be more empathetic?
It'll take complete annihilation
of our species.
Yeah. I think we're just born now with a genetic flair for cruelty. During COVID, one would have thought this is going to be the best time in my life. You live alone with your family, father and mother cooking. You watch the blue sky, the stars come out. There's no noise at all. You you watch the trees, you can actually see the Himalayas from Chandigarh. You can, there's fresh air. One would have thought amazing. But the police tell me that at that time, the maximum amount of wife beating took place. The maximum amount of jhagras and violence.
Wow.
So what is it that makes a human happy? I think just violence. He needs a reason to be vicious. I'll tell you, I get 700 emails a day, all of which are animal related. I'm not talking about my constituency ones.
Sure.
I'm not talking about the others.
Sure.
And the stories they tell, dog feeders getting beaten up, abused, that's very common.
That we see all the time.
Yeah. But more than that, it's just so strange. One came in yesterday saying, please, can you do something about this? My neighbors have trained their children to go and do potty on the road. And then they bring dogs on a leash and they stand with a stick while the dog eats the feces. Why?
What?
Exactly, why? So we will find newer and newer ways to be wicked all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's just inbuilt in the genes. And then we cover it up by saying, I don't want to know. When you tell a meat eater, I just don't want to know.
Exactly. I want to eat it, but I don't want to see it. Yeah. Yeah. I love animals.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see what happens to them.
I love my pedigree dog.
Yes.
I just don't like the Indian ones on the street.
Exactly. Exactly.
If you look at all these, when I ring up people who've been cruel to animals, I get their numbers and names, I call them up. And they'll say, no, we're all dog lovers. It's just that we don't like them barking. We don't like them here. They can be somewhere else. But we love them.
Yeah, obviously.
For people to be moral, you have to have governments that are moral.
Yes.
And that are think beyond votes. And really towards the welfare of people. For instance, exporting meat. I can't think of a worse crime.
Yes.
And yet we are the largest exporters in the world.
Beef.
Meat. Because we're putting goat meat, pork, chicken.
Right.
Fish now. And we've increased by 30% in the last 5 years.
Ma'am, what role do you think government will play in the future in helping animals in India?
None.
Really?
None.
So it has to come from the consumers.
It has to come from the consumers. It has to come from people like us who put it on the political agenda. See, most animal people pride themselves on the fact that they don't know a single politician,
Yes.
that they never vote,
Yeah.
and that they hold all people in politics in great contempt. And they think this makes them superior. And yet, when they get into trouble because of a bad law, then they don't know who to go to. So, if we would just, now the elections are coming, if we would just band together and put it on the agenda and start asking all the members of parliament who stand from each party, what do you intend to do for animals? What do you intend to do for stopping chicken poultry farms? They're not even farms, they're poultry factories.
Yes.
For instance, it is illegal to sell chicken on the road. In those kokas?
That's illegal.
It's illegal. Now, I don't even have one in my constituency. We just followed the law.
Wow.
Every member of parliament could shut them down.
Yeah.
They just don't, because you haven't asked for them.
You see them everywhere.
Yeah. But they're completely illegal.
Wow, I didn't know that. In India, is there going to be a future where the government may support plant-based milk and plant-based protein? Because we know that dairy and meat are subsidized in India. So is there a future where plant-based products could be subsidized in India?
No,
Okay.
because they're not made by government. So the government is not going to do it, firstly, because we'll be competing against what is made by government,
Right.
which is Amul.
Oh, wow.
So, I don't see that happening. But let me give you my opinion of plant-based milk and plant-based meat. It is simply a nuisance stopgap arrangement. The point is, let's look at the bigger picture. Are we ever going to change everybody into being vegetarian? No, we're not. Are we going to change them into being vegan? Of course not. So what should we be doing? We should be allowing them to eat meat and drink milk as long as there are no animals involved in it. So what we need in India is not plant-based milk and plant-based meat. What we need is clean meat and clean milk.
Cultivated.
Made from actual cells.
Yes.
Made in a laboratory. Now those research has been going on for the last 20 years.
Yes.
And they've reached some kind of breakthrough.
Yes.
What is standing in their way? Plant-based milk, plant-based meat. I'm saying get rid of that. Just go to real meat and real milk and sell it to the public. Let them eat whatever sludge they want. Let them get all the cancers they want. Let them get the diabetes that they so desperately
I love your bleak
wanted.
view of humans. It's like, it's really resonates with me.
Yeah, no, let them be as sick as they want.
Yeah.
As long as there are no animals involved in it.
Yeah.
So what will happen? We'll save our forests. The methane will disappear. So we'll get back our planet. Our water will be less polluted. We'll have more to eat for everybody. And all the meat eaters and milk drinkers can live happily ever after. Drinking milk, eating meat and getting sick. Which is really happy. Right? Because there are no animals that are suffering in the middle. There's no collateral damage. I am a collateral damage victim. So are you. From global warming. I got swine flu. I got some mosquito-based disease, which I didn't need and didn't want.
That's true. I've never thought about it that way. We are collateral damage of meat eaters.
Of a meat eater.
Yes.
So when you eat meat, I get sick.
Yeah.
Achha, when you get cancer, I go bust if I'm your daughter. Because I spend all my money trying to get you off cancer. So everybody around you is as much collateral damage as with cigarettes. Now government will not ban cigarettes, will keep saying cigarette smoking makes you sick, cigarette smoking gives you cancer, then ban the damn thing. But they won't ban it. They know that meat gives cancer, they know that milk gives cancer, and diabetes and everything else, acidity, everything. They know that it hurts the work population because somebody's off sick all the time. It kills the forests, it destroys the water, everything causes global warming, and yet they won't ban it.
But ma'am,
So why
plants
not
have
just
feelings.
give them? That's right, plants have feelings, which is why I'm saying cells don't have feelings. So why not just multiply the meat cells?
Yeah.
And turn them into, so that will profoundly, within 2 years, change the entire outlook of the planet. Because then we will stop proselytizing and trying to turn people vegan or vegetarian. In fact, I'll probably go and eat meat along with them. If it doesn't involve animals.
Yes.
So why not just change the world like that?
Yeah.
Governments should be putting all their money into clean meat and milk. If they really want to save the planet.
Yes.
When I was minister now in Mr. Modi's cabinet, we put 5 crores in to the Center for Cellular Microbiology
Right.
in Hyderabad. Unfortunately, they wasted the entire amount without getting anywhere. Just
Oh, okay.
because after I wasn't minister anymore,
Yeah.
there was no one to check
Right.
how far were they going.
Right.
So they blew it all up.
Oh, wow.
But if somebody had taken it seriously, then they wouldn't have blown it up. And we would have had our own, like Singapore now, is selling proper
They're
clean
selling
meat.
it. Yes. Yeah.
There were these 2 Indian boys, and the amazing thing about clean meat is all the companies of clean meat and milk have got Indians on the top.
Yes.
So, which means that there's hope yet.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We just have to get that into India. We're, what, 1/5 of the world's population.
Yes.
If we can do clean meat and allow everybody to eat it, subsidize it, do whatever you want. No, or maybe the best thing human beings can do for the world is just not have children.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, just make yourselves less.
Yeah.
There will less people, less cruelty.
Yeah.
You just have to measure it person by person.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that if you wear jewelry, you're being cruel anyway, because billions of animals have died in the digging of the gold, in the mining of the diamond.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a cruelty-free piece of jewelry. Coral are live. It takes 1 million years for them to grow and takes 5 minutes to kill them. No, the same Jains will say, we cannot eat food that is under the ground. So we can't have lasan, and we can't have pyaz, we can't have onions, and we can't have garlic because it grows under the ground. So to pull it out, we'll kill ants or something. They're quite happy drinking milk.
Yeah. That is what I don't want to step on the ground because I don't want to like hurt an ant or, as you said, pull the thing. But I'm happy to support.
Every day drink milk, eat paneer,
Yes.
have dahi.
Sup-
Yeah, that's
support
right.
the slaughter.
No, but not only that. What makes me even sadder are the Jain Munis who insist on tying tails of peacock feathers behind them, and they want new ones all the time. So you have to present them. And each tail has killed at least 10 peacocks. No peacock sheds its feathers naturally enough for them to be made into an industry. They shed one feather a month. So who's going to run around looking for that one feather? So what they actually do is they kill the peacock, they strangle it, or they cut the head off, and then they pull the feathers out. Now, what happens with that? When you pull the feather out, the shaft, the white part, becomes full of blood. So they cut the white part off before selling it. So when you see a peacock feather, you will never see the shaft with it, including on these pichus or jarus or whatever the Jain Munis call them. Say, let them give that up. But it's the only bird that's allowed to be killed. By law, it's our national bird. Because the Jains have each time shouted and screamed so much that they have prevented this law from being removed.
But Matt, this makes no sense when it's a religion which the entire basis of Jainism is non-violence to all beings.
That's right. Jesus was vegetarian.
Yes.
His brother John has written it in the book of John, saying we come from the tribe of Essenes. We are vegetarian till today. But then they use the story of turning fish into fish.
Yes.
You know, except that fish is the symbol for good luck.
Yes.
So it could well be that it's an allegorical tale, which meant that he brought good luck to the village.
Yes.
Rather than he gave them fish. Because I doubt it. Jesus would hand out fish to anybody.
I think people just seek ways to justify
Their own eating.
their actions.
Yeah. For instance, the Buddhists will eat in sanghas. Somebody will cook and then they will eat. But they're not. They're supposed to ask for their food. So I was in Burma, which is the most Buddhist of all countries. And everybody is supposed to be Buddhist for 1 year. And from my hotel, I saw these young 18-year-olds who had become Buddhists for the year. And they have to wear those maroon robes and, they have to go around begging. So instead of begging, they would be put out. The Sangha itself would put out bowls for them to eat on the road.
Right.
So it would look as if they were eating food from the road given by passers-by.
Right.
But the food was put out for them every day. And it was 8 kinds of meat.
What?
Swimming in blood.
Jesus. And the Buddhist monk that was sitting next to me in the plane, he said to me that it's okay for me to eat this chicken because I didn't kill it.
Right.
And I said to him, yes, but you've supported it indirectly because
No, by demanding it,
Yes.
it's been killed for you.
you've demanded it. So someone has killed it for you. So you are technically supporting it.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, but I didn't directly kill it. So I am correct according
But you know what they used to do when I complained in writing to the Dalai Lama some years ago? They used to take cows and they used to throw them over a cliff. And I didn't kill it, gravity killed it.
That is so messed up.
Yep.
And what a little loophole to find. And it's like, if you do believe in your God, do you really think God is so dumb that doesn't see the stupid stuff you're doing?
Or that he didn't make those animals as much as he made you.
Yes.
That's right. I say, all right, let's presume that you asked the Devi for a wish and she granted it.
Mm.
And in return, you said, I'm going to thank you. And how should I thank you? Normally, I would thank my mother.
Yes.
If the Devi is my mother,
Yes.
I would thank her with flowers, with a cake, with a happy birthday,
Yeah.
with a thank you, with a kiss, with a garland.
Yeah.
No, what I'm doing is I cut off the head of an animal,
Yes.
give you feces and urine that the animal does in front of you, fill my hands with blood and pieces of intestine, and then I give it to you and say, oh, thank you, mother.
Yeah.
Story that the Muslims have cooked up
Yes.
over killing that goat. Again, allegorical.
Now, it is a completely cooked up story.
Yeah, but no, it's pinched from the Old Testament.
Yes.
And then jigged
Yeah.
so that they can kill.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
It's actually just to teach people that to get used to killing. Don't make your stomach a graveyard for animals.
Correct.
If you look at I've read the Quran so many times because I wrote a book on Muslim names for which I had to study Arabic and Persian, Pazand, Pahlavi, languages that are no longer in use. And in that, the man is vegetarian. The Prophet himself is vegetarian, supreme animal lover. The first animal shelter started in the world was started in Egypt.
Wow.
I mean, the Muslims were glorious in their defense of animals.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, this becomes a religion that defines itself by the eating of animals.
Yes.
I am Muslim, I will eat meat.
Yes.
It's the same thing with Sikhism. All the Sikh gurus are vegans, vegetarians. And yet all the Sikhs eat meat because it's so manly.
Somehow, what I find interesting with Eid when they do slaughter all these animals, and they justify it that we're giving the meat to the poor. I'm like, but you could make vegetable biryani and give it to the poor.
Just give them the money, they'll get their own food for God's sake.
Food. It's about charity, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Eid is what? It's about charity.
Yeah, so why spend it on a goat?
Yes.
Then, why not just give the money directly?
Well, here's hoping, and thanks to people like you who are making such a difference in the world. Thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much.